The Forgotten Realms are home to many a strange and fearsome creature. Here, we aim to discuss them all. Go not blindly into the unknown, adventurer. Join us in browsing the bestiary.
Welcome back to Browsing the Bestiary, a podcast that takes an in-depth look at all those creatures that put the monster in Monster Manual, the beast in Bestiary, and of course, the dragons in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Dungeon Mistress Jade.
And I'm Lore Master Andy. Welcome back.
Double welcome back to part 2 of the Hill Giants.
Yes, we're following into this this pattern that we don't mean to, where we find all of the things about the creatures that we want to tell you about, but it's too much for one episode. It's just
too much content.
Too
how
much.
Sad.
Yeah, how sad. You know what audiences hate? More content. That's what people are telling me constantly. So, you know.
Who's telling you?
Yeah, no. that's a good question. No, nobody, but you know, I feel like there's somebody out there like, no, I want you to get to the next monster. Don't tell me about every edition. I only want to know about one D&D.
Too bad.
But anyways, enough of our non-existent audience members. Jade, what's going on? What's new?
Just had a good weekend with my friends. We went shopping.
Nice.
I spent too much money.
Of course.
We went to this cool bookstore. I think he said it's been open for like 30-something years or 40-something years.
Okay.
Where it's just this one guy who like collects stuff in this small shop. And people just bring him books. And guess what I found there?
Ooh, what did you find there? Do tell.
I found a bunch of second edition books, including the Fighter's Handbook.
Ooh.
Yep. The Sunless Citadel.
Ooh, a classic. Oh my god.
Drow of the Underdark. Yeah, lots of classics. I wish I could have gotten all of them, but 2 of them were kind of expensive, so I was like, I'll save these. And he's like, hey, most people don't come in here looking for these books, so if you come back down, they might be here. And I'm like, yes, I will come.
There
An excuse to see my friends and buy D&D books.
Yeah, you're like, can you just put that in the back for me?
Yeah, can you hide that?
Give me another paycheck, and I will give you my money for that.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I look forward to more of your hauls of various D&D supplements. I feel like there's
I'm always lurking on Facebook Marketplace, and people are selling like their whole collection from white box all the way to second edition. I'm like, oh, I don't have $300 though.
Yeah. And also it's like, why would you get rid of that, man? Physical media, but hey.
Oh, it's so nice, and I'm like, why? Give it to me.
Yeah. Well, next time you bring something in, maybe we'll sit down and have a little look-see, maybe on video. Yeah. Ooh.
That's a good idea.
Yes, at some point. We are working on it. We have some technological limitations, but rest assured, dear listeners, at some point you will see our beautiful faces on video pouring through dusty tomes, but not in this episode. Okay. All right, so we left off at the end of second edition with our big, beautiful, well, they're not beautiful, they're actually pretty ugly, but our big guys, the Hill Giants. So we are going to start off this episode with third edition.
Third edition.
Okay, so now Hill Giants first appear in the third edition Monster Manual, which was published in 2000, which then gets reprinted into the Monster Manual V3.5 when third edition became 3.5. The overview on giants is pretty similar to the previous edition, stating that the giants love melee combat, they throw rocks, they big, they strong, etc. We do get a clarification that giants with an intelligence of 10 or above can speak common, in addition to speaking giant, which is cool. We now have a separation of the smarts from the dumbs. Nice. Which, speaking of, this edition makes distinctions between different groupings of giants. Now we have listings of giants as solitary, gangs, bands, and then tribes. And each type of giant then has specific numbers on how many giants appear in each, right? So your random encounter tables are going to be a lot more specific than they were in previous editions. The DMs everywhere, I assume, rejoiced at this and, put away the tables that they had made themselves. I assume at 2 a.m. in a frenzy, prepping for the next day's session.
Yes, as third edition does. It likes to just combine everything into one easy table.
Yes, thank God. Which, speaking of tables, before we jump into Hill Giant specifically, I do want to talk about my personal favorite addition to Giant lore in this book, which is the Giant's Bag sidebar. Okay? It gets a whole sidebar now. Just listen to what the designers wrote here. Quote, "It is a common myth that giants' bags are stuffed with gold, in parentheses, always at least 1,000 gold pieces by some accounts, end parentheses. In truth, they usually hold a few battered and smelly personal items, a supply of throwing rocks, some less than fresh rations, and a few trinkets," end quote. I love how they're literally just retconning the previous lore with a good-natured poke at the language from older books. It's like, oh, there is all this gold. No, there's not. I don't think so. Here's some smelly junk. You're welcome. The sidebar has a whole table with possible things that can be found in a giant's bag, which can be rolled for with a D100. In a hill giant's bag specifically, you'll find, quote, 2d4 throwing rocks, 1d4 plus 4 mundane items, and the giant's personal wealth. These possessions tend to be worn, filthy, and stinky. These items are usually crude and often jury-rigged or salvaged from some similar item. Examples include a hand chopper made from a broken battle axe head, a wooden bowl and spoon, or a drinking cup made from a big gourd, or a skull, end quote.
I definitely love how the designers in this edition are trying to make the Giant's Bag more a unique flavor thing between the different types of giants, and I just love what they did with the Hill Giant's Bag because it's just like, oh, his little trinkets, and we get like a better description of what these trinkets are, because beforehand we had no idea what's in the bag. What's in the bag?
Yeah, what's in the bag? What's in the bag? Yeah. Yeah, and third edition in general, as we've kind of talked about, does a really good job of kind of fleshing out the gray areas that existed for monster lore in the previous editions, as well as, standardizing everything up to a more easy to understand set of rules and mechanics, which we love that. Now, here's how hill giants are described in this edition. Quote, "This giant has an oddly simian appearance, with overlong arms, stooped shoulders, and low foreheads, and thick, powerful limbs," end quote. Their general description goes on to restate almost verbatim their demeanor from second edition, which is nice to see that the designers wanted to keep consistency between the editions. And this makes sense as the Monster Manual 1 was designed to just update creatures from second edition to third edition, and then 3.5 rules, right? So consistency, we love that. Now, bizarrely, the opposite of consistency, hill giants are now back to being 10.5 feet tall instead of 16 feet tall.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's a very weird change. And then once again, around 1,100 pounds, once again being demoted to being a large-sized creature. Hill giants, I don't get that, but it's whatever. Later editions fix it. We'll get there. Hill giants now have 12d8 plus 48 hit points. This is 102 HP on average. -1 to their initiative, a base speed of 40, and an armored speed of 30 feet. They have an AC of 20, pretty good, and a plus 22 grapple checks, So good luck getting away if a hill giant wants to pick you up.
Who's trying to grapple? Oh, wait, to get out of a grapple. I
Yes.
see.
No, if you're trying to go,
About to say, who's trying to grapple a giant?
yeah, if you're trying to grapple a giant, we have other issues. But yeah, that if it tries to grab you, unless you are extremely dexterous or extremely strong, you're gonna have a bad time.
I'm gonna have a bad time.
You have a bad time. Now, as a large creature, they have a reach of 10 feet. They do get low light vision in this edition, and they retain their rock catching abilities from previous editions, which I think is awesome, personally.
I do too.
Yeah. Now, hill giants, they keep their great club attack, which has a plus 16 to hit and does 2d8 plus 10 damage, as well as their rock attack, which has a range of 120 feet, now has a plus 8 to hit for 2d6 plus 7 damage, which is powered down a bit from second edition, but I think that's because they're smaller now.
That makes sense.
Were they that same huge size, they would have kept that 2d8. But oh well. They also get a slam attack, which has a plus 15 to hit and does 1d4 plus 7 damage. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be just kind of a get away from me bonus action attack. Yeah, because it's really not that impressive. In terms of alignment, they are typically chaotic evil, and then they clock in at a challenge rating of 7. So, not pushovers, just not as cool as they were in previous editions.
I like that the one consistent thing throughout all the editions is that hill giants are chaotic evil. That's it.
Yes,
they don't get any kind of change. And it's refreshing, I think.
It is. I agree. It's like, what are they going to do? I don't know. Are they going to do nice things? Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, we don't know. Now, as far as battle tactics are concerned, like in second edition, hill giants prefer to huck boulders at their foes from high rocky outcroppings, then bull rush their way into a fight, trampling smaller creatures before planting themselves in place and swinging away with their massive clubs. Basically, think of them as, plus-sized battering rams that can think, kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of. Now, hill giants can be found anywhere that there is an abundance of hills and mountains, but prefer temperate climates. They tend to be aggressive, preferring to take rather than trade. But, like in previous editions, hill giant tribes will trade with other giants or with groups of ogres or orcs for food, trinkets, and servants. Once again, we're getting in line with this idea that, giants are related, more than just being a creature type to the other giants. They'll talk with them, they'll trade with them. And then, of course, when we think of ogres and orcs, there is that alignment consistency, right? Oh, you're chaotic evil too? Well, I'll trade with you. And that's kind of a nice layer to see in there. Especially because in third edition, we lose that, speak evil, if you are evil, speak good if you're good. Yeah, which
Speak evil.
Yeah, which good change. Well done, designers. Well done. That was silly.
Yeah.
Now there are options in this rule book for making giant characters of all types. Every single type of giant gets a player character option, which I thought was pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And they're very specific. They're very, very detailed. So I won't go through all of the specifics because, like I said, there's a lot. Each one gets like a quarter to a third of a page, and we just don't have time for that. But
No.
hill giant player characters, for when they're creating their character, they get a plus 14 to their strength score, minus 2 to their dexterity, plus 8 to their constitution, minus 4 to their intelligence and charisma. You are dumb. You are stinky. They are classified as size large. They get a minus 1 to their armor class, but they do get a plus 4 to grapple checks, can lift and carry double the limit of medium-sized characters. They have a base speed of 40 feet, a reach of 10 feet. They get low light vision, and they get the rock throwing and rock catching ability of their monster.
No way.
Yeah. Exactly the same as their monster counterparts, which I imagine must have just been absolute mayhem for their poor DMs. It's like, okay, every time, a missile comes at you, all right, well, I guess roll a percentile dice. Do you catch it or not? Oh, fuck, you do. Again.
Now what?
Yeah, now what? Yeah, exactly. So yes, shouts out to the DMs of 3rd and 3.5 edition because whew, what a mess.
There just has to have been a game where they just kept throwing missiles at them, hoping that they would miss the roll, and the player was just extra lucky that night.
Yeah. I catch it.
Throwing the rock back.
I catch it. I catch it again. Stop it!
You're cheating.
You're cheating. I had a plan. Why'd I even let you make this character? Which, granted, all DMs understand that. Why did I let you do this?
That's me right now. That's me right now.
I know, specifically with my character. I'm sorry.
Why did I let you be an artificer?
Let your character, your player, be an artificer. They said.
Someone nerf the artificers.
It'll be fun. They said. Now going back a little bit in time to 2001, we do see the giant gods introduced, including Anam and Grollantor, which get a little blurb in a small guidebook called Defenders of the Faith, a guidebook to clerics and paladins. Now, this book was designed as a supplement to help players get the most out of their cleric or paladin characters. This includes, of course, listing all of the possible deities that players could choose from, which, as a player, awesome. As a DM, awesome, but also, you got to keep track of all of that.
So many deities.
So many deities, right? But luckily, they're all in one handy-dandy book. Now, in Grollantor's section, there are a few significant changes from his AD&D counterpart. Not only is he the god of hill giants and Ettins, but now he is the god of ogres as well, which don't get used to that. That doesn't stay.
Nope.
The section says that Grollantor refuses any other title than his name, and while he is the god of hunting and combat, his other domains include chaos, death, earth, and evil. As is fitting for a hill giant god, the section also states that Grollantor is, quote, willfully stupid. And often gets himself and his followers into, quote, more confrontations than they can handle, end quote.
It didn't say what the confrontations were, but I truly wonder what Grollantor is doing to get his followers into this mess. Like,
yeah,
is he just bothering the other giant gods?
Yeah, right. Which I will say, when we get to 5th edition, one of the supplements does go into a little bit more detail of what Grollantor's deal is and like why he's this way. And there is very much a lot of why are you like this coming from his siblings.
I just imagine the willfully stupid. It got me real hard.
Yeah.
Because it's just like someone's argue. It's when you argue with someone and you're like, this is this. And they're like, nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh.
And you're like, what?
What do you mean?
That's not how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the opposite of the rule of cool, right? It's just the rule of stupid. Yeah.
Oh, Grollantor.
Oh, Grollantor, you silly, but also weirdly strong and resilient dumbass. Which, hey, just like his kids. Just like his kids. Now, in 2004, we get the book Races of Stone, which is a supplement that takes a deeper rock and stone, am I right?
Rock and stone.
Rock and stone. A deeper look at those playable races who feel the most comfortable living underground or in the mountains. Now, the 3 main chapters focus on dwarves, gnomes, and Goliaths. Now, this book is significant because it is the first time that we are introduced to a playable race with the giant ancestry, which that is, of course, the Goliaths, which in later editions become referred to as, quote-unquote, little giants. Which is funny because your average Goliath is between 7 and 9 feet tall. So little is relative here, but, whatever. Now, Goliaths will eventually be in their own episode, but we wanted to mention them here as this is one of the first times, as we said, we see them as a playable race that has giant ancestry in the game. In the beginning of their chapter in Races of Stone, Goliaths are described as mountain-dwelling nomads. They are reclusive, and they are tribal. Most Goliaths, at least in this edition, stand between 7 and 8 feet tall, weigh between 280 and 340 pounds. They usually have gray skin that is mottled with patches of black that form unique patterns across the Goliath's body. And then the Goliaths can sometimes be mistaken for hill giants or ogres, but unlike hill giants, they are much more intelligent, and even hill giants learn to respect the Goliath's battle prowess. Ooh.
Mm.
Yes, which near and dear to my heart is I know it's stereotypical, but is a Goliath barbarian that I played in a long-running D&D campaign. And that guy was another example of the DM going, "Why did I let you do this?" Which I convinced my DM to let Crother, who is my Goliath, have winged boots. And
Oh no.
oh yes,
Oh no.
there was hardly an aerial combat that I did not single-handedly absolutely butcher. And I felt great doing it, especially because I'd look up, because this was a remote game. We played through Roll20 in Discord, and my DM would just have his face in his hands. He'd go, "Why did I let you have those fucking boots?"
DMs, this is why we don't give our players items, okay? Just don't.
That's
just
right.
don't do it.
Don't do it. Winged boots,
Maybe-
bag of beans, don't do it.
Oh, not the bag of beans.
I feel like we need a whole mini-sode just about the dangers of the bag of beans.
Oh, yeah, that'd be so fun, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. It'll be good.
But before that, let's finish this episode.
Yes, that's important.
And let's get into 4th edition.
4th edition.
Yeah. So as I am sure you guessed, 4th edition looked at all the lore established in 2nd and 3rd edition and said, "Fuck that.
Yep.
We do our own thing."
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Hill giants first appear in 4th edition in 2008 Monster Manual, and oh boy, is it different. Now, maybe me and 4th edition got off on the wrong foot in the beginning. Or maybe I bonked my head and have serious brain trauma.
Possible.
But once again, I do not hate the changes to the lore for the giants.
Really?
I have a feeling, Andy, you might not agree with me, but let's go forward and see what you think.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 4th edition, for the overall lore of the Giants and the Titans and the Primordials are related. So apparently the first Giants were actually Titans who, quote, labored under primordial lords to shape the newly forming world, end quote. After forming the worlds, the Titans were like, hey, we want to enjoy the fruits of our labors. So they left their plane of elemental chaos, that is the name of the plane, and found homes in other places, including the Feywild, the Astral Sea, and Shadowfell.
A little strange, but okay.
Yep. Okay, stay with me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So Titans and Giants, who are essentially smaller Titans, or I guess Titans are taller giants since they're categorized as giants in the stat box. Either way, went to these planes and were often the creators of the first empires on these planes. Apparently using the quote-unquote children of Morden as slaves in these empires.
Okay.
So, keeping up with the tradition of this mysterious feud between the giants and the dwarves. Giants and Titans obviously live in environments that aligned with their elemental type. They both do not answer to one overlord and are often fighting amongst each other.
Ooh, that's interesting.
However, However, in the section states that if ever an imprisoned or lost primordial would ever make its way to the world where the Titans and the Giants are, of that specific primordial, so Earth Titan to Earth primordial, so on and so forth, they would at once become loyal and obey the Ancient One's command.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, some kind of like, I don't want to say like Jesus kind of moment.
Earth
But,
Jesus.
Earth Jesus. He comes back and all of the Titans and Giants just kind of drop their things and are like, hurl rock for God.
Hurl rock for God.
Hurl rock. We need that on a shirt.
Hurl rock for God. Yes, somebody out there, make it.
Do it right now.
We'll publish it. That's right.
Yeah. So, under this lore, our hill giants actually fall under the earth elemental category.
Okay.
I was a bit disappointed to see that the hill giant didn't have an earth elemental attack, other than the standard Hurwalk. Hurwalk for God.
Hurl rock for God.
Which I guess is unique to the hill giant in this edition. But it still would have been nice to see more unique attacks. And I guess that's what you get, for a giant that's on the lower run of the ordering.
Yeah, I give that a solid meh.
Yeah. I like the overall change of putting giants together with the elementals, just because it makes sense for some of the other giants like fire giants and frost giants.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because in in a specific module that we will talk about in 5th edition, there are giant strongholds that have elemental guardians, right? In the employ of the giants. So like this is kind of a nice through line there, but also no.
It is also better than the typical 4E where it's like, their gods are fighting or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we have a change from that.
Yeah, I'll give it points for conception, but it loses points for execution.
Fair. But again, me and 4E are not fighting this time. I am still angry at 5.5, and you will see why.
Yes,
later.
we'll get there. Save your cringing for then, dear listener.
But back to 4E. So stats wise, nothing too amazing for 4E. The hill giant has a 25 AC, 159 HP, a speed of 8, and a plus 16 to athletics. They also lose their low light vision from 3.5. Yeah, but gain the ability to speak primordial in addition to giants.
Okay, that is cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like primordial as a language just sounds like it would be complicated. And so for a hill giant to speak that, it's just kind of funny to me.
Yeah, well, and it's like it's a thing because this was an element in that same game that I talked about where the DM had his head in his hands because my barbarian was killing all of his poor airborne monsters. When we were talking about speaking primordial, he's like, you can shout at rocks and they will understand you. You can berate a mountain and it will tell you why that hurt its feelings.
Oh, guys, don't hurt mountain's feelings.
Yeah. Don't do that. So yeah, no, it's a definitely complex. I always kind of thought of that as like if you've ever heard like throat singing, right? Like Tuvan or Mongolian throat singing, right? This kind of like gutter, like kind of thing. Like, that's what I always thought. It's like you do that, and then the elements respond. And anybody who doesn't speak primordial is just looking on baffled as you are conversing with the bonfire, with the wind, with the mountain, right? But I always thought this was
if the druids can speak to trees and animals, primordial speakers should be able to speak to the rocks.
Absolutely.
And the wind. Like, it makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, and of course, cue the horrified reactions of your companions when the elements speak back.
Oh, yeah. It reminds me of, I'm going through the Chronicles of Narnia, and there's a point where the trees, the Ents, quote unquote, fucked off because they're like, you guys are killing all of the magical creatures.
Yeah, stop it. Yeah.
And then of course Aslan comes back and the kids talk to the trees again. They're like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know you guys could talk.
We didn't know you guys fucked with Lion Jesus."
Everyone fucks with Lion Jesus.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true. Except for that darn witch, but she dies.
It's always he comes back. And the description is always everyone's equally amazed and scared out of their minds. Like, that is just Aslan.
Yes, I've never seen this lion before. But this is not a C.S. Lewis podcast. I'm sure there are those out there. Hit us up if you exist, C.S. Lewis podcasts. We'd love to talk Tolkien with you. But
yeah, let's do that.
yes, hit us up. But I'm sorry. I am responsible for this tangent. Hill giants.
Okay, yes, hill giants. Let's go back to their stats
Yes,
and their
yes, 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 yes.
attacks. So their attacks are the same, using a great club as a melee weapon and a rock as a ranged weapon. The hill giant can make a unique attack called Sweeping Club, with which they can make a great club attack on 2 medium or smaller creatures, and on a hit, those creatures are pushed back 2 squares and knocked prone.
See, now that is not meh. All right? It took 4 editions, but the hill giants finally learned how to do something somewhat tactical, which, considering their extremely low intelligence, I'm very proud of them.
So proud.
I'm so proud.
Yeah.
I'm so proud.
Finally, in this book, the personality of the hill giants are the same, as well as with the additional description of, quote, mean, uncouth, and territorial monsters who often enslave smaller, weaker creatures.
Okay. Yeah, that's on brand.
Typical. Yeah, on brand. And also on brand, they're also aggressive fighters, but know when to retreat when they are outmatched.
Okay,
Which is a good addition.
that's kind of a nice change. Okay.
I like it. Yeah, it kind of fits in, because all the other editions were like, oh, they're cunning, and I'm like, where's the cunning in these hill giants? But I guess in terms of fighting and battle tactics, they are a little more cunning compared to every other aspect of their life.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but you're kind of winning me over on the 4th edition lore here.
See?
I know. I didn't think I'd say it, especially when we think back to the bullywugs, but
Oh, the bullywugs.
You're winning me over here.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. Block that.
It's also just a better step. Usually when we go from 3.5 to 4, you're like, oh my god, what did they do, these guys? Why did they take all the lore and the fun?
Yeah.
But actually, 3.5 was kind of boring for me, to be honest. And 4 is like, let's spice it up,
Yeah. I would agree. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I would agree.
And they actually get spicier as we go forward. So moving on, just 2 years later, after the first 4th edition Monster Manual, the Hill Giants are reprinted in the 2010 Monster Manual 3. And you would think that this would be another verbatim reprinting, but the Hill Giant Monster Manual 3 is a good bit different from the first.
Okay.
So, lore-wise, the Hill Giants are now said to have turned their back on their primordial ancestry, and unlike fire or frost giants, who still cling to these old ways, the Hill Giants have kind of accepted that their life in the quote-unquote natural world, and they'll often work with other brutish humanoid tribes or under evil humans. So they've kind of given up on waiting for their primordials to come back, and they're just like, we're here, we're gonna work with these guys.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. However, Hill Giants do have some principles. They will not work with evil humanoids working under the gods Bane and Grumsh. They specifically don't like those gods or gods like them. The section speculates that this may be because there's still some innate loyalty to their primordial ancestors, even though it's, like we said, not explicit.
Yeah, no, I actually, once again, I'm surprised I'm saying this, but I do like this angle, because this harkens, whether this was a design choice or not, it harkens back to the Giant Craft lore from 2nd edition. That said that the giants who worship gods outside of the giant pantheon are basically disowned by their families and tribes. Yeah, remember, I don't think if we talked about this in the previous episode. If we did, I'm just rehashing. But the concept of Mott and Mog, right? Mott is...
no, we did talk about that.
Yeah, we did talk about that, right? Mott, very good. Mog, very bad. worshiping a god outside of the giant pantheon is considered, one of the most Mog things you can do in giant society. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why they'd be like, nope, while I enjoy the chaotic evil of this all, I draw the line at Grumsh worship. I have principles. I can't count to 5, but I have principles.
Yeah. No, I like that callback. I feel like all editions should do that, do some kind of callback to old lore. And that's a good one of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Additionally, in this section, the stat blocks in this monster manual are more like what I was expecting for the first monster manual. There are actually 3 different types of hill giants in this book: the hill giant smasher, rock thrower, and avalancher, which you will see when we get there to their stat blocks that their names are pretty spot on.
I like it. And if there's one thing that 4th edition is great at, it is making monster variants. Oh,
yes.
Love it.
Yeah, that's why I was slightly disappointed in the first monster manual, because it was just hill giant, and then it was earth elemental, and that was it. That was all we had. I was like, where are the other variants?
Yeah, that's lame. But no, they they make up for
but
it.
they fixed it with this, and we'll go through. So the hill giant smasher is slightly weaker than the typical hill giant from the first monster manual, with an AC of 23, 137 HP, and a plus 15 to athletics. But the hill giant smasher does have a variety of attacks that were missing from the first hill giant.
Okay.
The smasher has the same great club attack, but they also have an additional melee attack called brutal smash, which can do 4d10 plus 14 damage.
Woo! Damn, that's on brand for the smasher. Okay.
And it can recharge if the attack misses.
Wow. Dang. Okay. All right.
The smasher also has an attack called whirling smash. Similar to the original hill giant's sweeping club, whirling smash can hit 2 creatures at once, doing 2d8 plus 10 damage. But this time it does not knock the creatures prone.
Okay. Which, I mean, to be fair, I feel like that's an insult to injury if you're knocking them prone after all of that damage. My goodness.
I feel like that's just the 4th edition way. It's like, knock back 2 spaces, also knock prone.
yeah, exactly. Just bam, you're on your ass. Also, you're farther away. Sorry.
And I think the hill giant thrower does this. So the hill giant thrower, of course, is a long-range artillery of the group.
Makes sense.
It prefers to hide in high hilltops, waiting to ambush their enemy.
Consistency, I like that. Okay.
The rock thrower will use the attack Shattering Rock Burst to disrupt its foes, which can hit up to 10 creatures
10?
within the area of blast. Yeah, 10.
What?
Yep. In that area of blast, and does 2d8 plus 6 damage, and stuns the target until they can save.
Oh, that's the nasty part. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Jesus.
very nasty.
Yeah.
On top of that, the rock thrower will then use knockdown throw, which does 2d8 plus 7 damage, and can either push the target back 2 squares or knock it prone.
Oh man. All right. Well, damn. All right. Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, so you're just stunning them, and then you're like, it's almost like a bowling ball. You're like stunning them into a bowling pin and then knocking them over.
Yeah, and your party's just like, we're just going through the hills. What's happening?
Where is this coming from?
Where's this coming from?
They're in the trees.
They're in the
man.
fucking trees, man. Getting flashback. I hear the helicopters. Wait. We're in D&D. I hear the airships.
The eagles.
The eagles. Yeah.
And then finally we have the hill giant avalancher, which of course uses gravity to their advantage.
Oh no.
Rolling rocks down a hill onto their enemies rather than throwing them.
Oh, okay. That doesn't seem as bad.
Well. So this of course does significantly more damage, doing 2d10 plus 11 damage.
Ooh, all right.
Sliding the enemy 4 spaces and knocking them prone.
My God.
No
save?
It gets worse. No save.
No save. Jesus.
Yeah. And After knocking down their enemies, like bowling pins,
Mhm.
the Avalancher will then rush into melee, hitting any remaining quote-unquote pins, using the attack Crushing Charge to hit the enemy for 2d10 plus 11 and knocking them prone.
Oh my god,
So-
everybody's just prone.
Yeah. So yeah, they're rolling down this bowling ball, knocking people down. They use their Crushing Charge to knock the rest of them down that don't get knocked down.
God.
And then, once everyone is prone, the Avalancher will add injury to injury and use Stomping Shift, which allows it to shift 4 spaces through prone enemy spaces.
Ooh.
And each time the Avalancher enters a prone enemy space for the first time, it does an additional 8 damage. Again, no save.
Ooh, that is so much damage.
Yeah, this guy is scary.
Yeah.
I would not want to come across an Avalancher
No.
in my campaign. No way.
Terrible. I almost feel like that's just a mean thing to throw at your players.
Yeah, I imagine too, like, if hill giants are, a tribal society, all 3 of these guys are working together.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So it's
no.
just rock on rock on rock and great club on great club. Like, you're dead.
Yeah,
you're dead.
You're just dead. You're just dead. Although, of course,
Ugh.
4th edition has all kinds of like video gamey bullshit that your players can
That's
do as
true.
well. So, evasion, cunning dodge. Uncanny dodge. Yeah, whole
Yeah.
host of things they can do, but still, nasty. Oh.
Still, it's a lot. Yeah. So that's Monster Manual 3, which I'm glad they added all of those variants.
Mhm.
And finally, in 4th edition, we see the hill giants turn up in a supplement called the Monster Vault.
Mm.
So the Monster Vault box set was a part of a what they called the Essentials lineup,
Mhm.
which was a reimagined version of the 2008 Monster Manual, bringing unique twists to classic monsters, as well as updating mechanics with a new errata, or corrections to previous supplements,
Mhm.
including new math, updated stat blocks, and more lore.
We love that.
We love lore. The Monster Vault set itself came with the Monster Vault rulebook, with the new and/or improved monsters, die-cut tokens, maps, and the Cairn of the Winter King, a small adventure included.
Very nice. The nerd in me loves that.
In the Monster Vault rulebook, giants get another change to their history, as well as some additional context. Now, in this book, primordials created the world, then titans stepped up to explore the world, but there were too few titans, and so they created giants to help them explore and cultivate the world around them.
Oh, okay.
So a little more context, and then the giants enslaved the nation races of the gods, such as the dwarves,
Of course.
and used their industrious captives to help shape the worlds in their image.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense of why the dwarves and the giants are fighting. Then came the Dawn War, which, much like the Gigantomachy, the Dawn War was a battle between the gods and the primordials, titans, and giants.
Okay.
So for a while, the giant side was winning, but slowly the gods were able to take out titans and capture primordials.
Okay.
And the final blow came from the enslaved dwarves, who rose up against the giants in the name of Morden. The book says that since then the giants have, quote, never forgiven the dwarves' betrayal, end quote. I can't really say you can call that a betrayal since they were never loyal to the giants in the first place. But okay.
Yeah, seriously. It's a real slavers blaming their slaves for revolting moment. It's like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I know. Like, you can't be mad at that.
Yeah, you can't be
That's
mad.
crazy.
Come on, man. Yeah.
But I guess they are. So more context to that feud going on, I guess. The hill giants in this version are still related to the earth elementals, being the weakest branch of the family of earth giants. They are still brutish yet cunning in nature and are said to take from the traditions of the land they reside by anointing themselves kings and, quote, demanding a daily tribute of pumpkins and cows, end quote.
I see we're getting back to our roots with the giant kings. Okay.
Yes, I do appreciate that. I do
Yeah.
appreciate that they just try and fit in, but in the worst possible
Yeah, in the
way.
worst possible way. It's not a great time for anybody else besides the hill giants.
Nope, they're just having fun with their pumpkins and cows.
My goodness.
Yeah. And in this version, we also get some new stat blocks. The regular hill giant, the hill giant hunter, and the hill giant earth shaman.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really like this change better because it kind of condenses all of the different roles of a hill giant into more common sense stat blocks. So, for example, the regular hill giant is almost 1-to-1 with its stat block from the first monster manual, with again some of the damage points and other stats updated to the new errata.
Okay.
But then we have the hill giant hunter, who is quite different from what we've seen so far in 4E. This type of hill giant uses a javelin as its main weapon, mainly as a ranged weapon along with the same hurl rock attack as the regular giant.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so I think condensing it all into one regular hill giant and then one, it kind of condenses the avalancher and the rock thrower together in the hunter. But then also we get some of the elemental aspects, which I was waiting for a long time.
Yeah, seriously.
We get that in the hill giant earth shaman, and see them, use these earth elemental abilities. The earth shaman can use attacks like earth grip, slam, which does 2d8 plus 10 damage and restrains their target until the end of the giant's next turn.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Then we have earth chains, which is a really interesting attack, in that it is also a healing move.
Okay.
Yeah, so if the earth chains hits a target, it does 1d8 plus 5 damage and stuns the target.
Ooh, nasty.
If the target is flying, then they have to fall to the ground, which does do some damage. You do have falling damage. And then the first time a giant's ally hits the stun target, they gain back 15 HP.
Interesting. Yeah, that's like the Earthbind spell that players can use, but a buff. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's really cool. I wish we would see more attacks like that, where it's an attack and a healing move.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then finally, they have the attack Earth Wave, which can hit up to 5 enemies for 1d10 plus 4 and push them back 2 squares.
Okay.
Additionally, the target is knocked prone, as we
of course
see this pattern. Yep. And any allies that were in the blast can move up squares and make a basic attack as a free action. Yep. So the shaman does the earth wave, knocks them prone, and then the allies of the earth shaman can just come in and have a free attack.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, hey friends, go smash.
Go smash. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite version of the hill giant so far. And again, it's surprising for me to say that for 4th edition. I just like it better as an elemental than a regular humanoid monster, you know?
Yeah, 100%. But I think, like you said, that gets to some interesting, some kind of interesting connections to the frost and fire giants, right? Which, once again, giant kin. But this whole thing of like, we have some elemental aspects to this. They're not just giants. They're interesting. Which,
they have personality.
Yeah. Which, is all fine and cool. But one thing I really like about 5th edition is it really gets into the lore, right? And kind of the world building of giants.
Give us lore.
Yeah, lore. That's right. Which, in 5th edition, hill giants, they're not elementals anymore. They are back to being giants. As interesting as 4th edition's exploration into their elemental connections was, 5th edition really gets into the giantness of the hill giants. Making some tweaks to their lore that make them both more unique as creatures and, in my opinion, more interesting than they were in editions, original D&D all the way through 3.5.
Okay.
So in 5th edition, they first appear in the 2014 Monster Manual. They are part of the standard set of monsters that are released at the start of 5th edition. They are now back to being huge creatures.
Yay!
Yes, our boys are finally big again, standing 16 feet tall on average. They are said to dwell in the hills and valleys of the world in, quote, steadings built of rough timber or in clusters of well-defended mud and wattle huts, end quote.
That's new.
It is, right? It's kind of nice because we're getting some semblance of society. We're going to get more into that. But what I really love about 5th edition is that it really hammers home just how stupid hill giants are. So, to put this in perspective, a typical hill giant has an intelligence of 5. Which is,
no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Which is dumber than the average orc, who has an intelligence of 7. So... yeah.
No wizards.
Yeah, no.
is what
Oh,
you're
God,
saying.
no wizards. No, definitely no wizards this time around. They are so dumb, in fact, that the passage states that farmers can sometimes scare off a hill giant by standing on each other's shoulders, draping themselves in sheets, and waving around a large pumpkin painted to look like a giant's face.
Okay. I mean, if any of you have ever seen Over the Garden Wall, you know that can be pretty scary. So if I were a giant, I'd run too.
Yeah. Oh, what a classic.
Such a good show.
Hit me in the
Everyone
nostalgia.
go watch it. Pause this podcast, go watch it, and then come back.
That's right. And you'll be like, is that Elijah Woods? Yes, it is. That is his voice.
It is.
Yes. Now, stat-wise, 5th edition hill giants have an armor class of 13, which makes sense because they're usually unarmored. They have 10d12 plus 40 hit points, which comes out to 105 hit points on average, and then a speed of 40 feet, which makes sense. They're huge. They
Classic?
cover. Yeah, classic. Now, while this essentially makes them big, easy-to-hit piles of hit points, they do get some more damage output in this edition, being able to make 2 great club attacks instead of 1. Each one has a +8 to hit and does 3d8 plus 5 damage. So, yeah, they're straight up doubling their damage output from the standard versions of hill giants in previous editions. Love that. Now, consistent with previous editions, they keep their ranged rock attack, which now has a +8 to hit for 3d10 plus 5 damage.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Okay.
So this clocks them in as a CR5 creature, which I think is fair given the trade-offs between the hill giants' pumped strength and constitution scores, their strength being a 21 and their constitution being a 29, and then the rest of their stats, which are just terrible. They have negatives across the board. Now, speaking of this rock-catching ability, in a very lame turn of events, hill giants no longer have it. They can no longer catch rocks.
No.
Yeah.
5th edition. Stop.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Cue missiles being lobbed at those guys by your players with relative impunity. That doesn't mean they won't throw rocks back, though. So, keep that in mind. In fact, 5th edition takes away the rock catch ability for all giants, except for stone giants. I think this is...
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's to kind of bring out the lore aspect of stone giants, but still lame, hate it.
Boo hiss.
Yeah, boo hiss. A dark patch in an otherwise fantastic rework of giants, I think. They also do not get back their low light / dark vision ability. So if your parties are smart and can see in the dark, then they're going to have a better chance of getting the jump on any hill giants that they might be, trying to sneak past at night. Ooh.
I think that's definitely a fair trade-off. I don't think they needed low light vision. They seem like just sleep all. I feel like they would sleep like a sloth. 18 hours a day and then just wake up, throw some rocks, go back to bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we've got our food, we're good. I need my 12 hours of beauty sleep.
Same, girl, same.
Yeah, same. Now, the lore in this edition really leans into the Hill Giants' place in the ordning to flesh out their culture, or rather, their lack of it, which I absolutely love. In regards to the ordning, the Monster Manual states that they are actually too stupid to realize that they are even a part of the ordning. Instead, Hill Giants understand the world in terms of bigger means better. So creatures smaller than them, like humanoids and animals, are considered prey and can be hunted with impunity. Creatures bigger than them, like dragons, are tough potential adversaries. As such, when Hill Giants encounter giants higher than them in the ordning and are therefore, taller and bigger than them, they just fall in line and obey their commands.
Remember, folks, it's not how you use it that matters. It's the size.
Damn. I feel like there's a tangent I could go on here, but we're already almost an hour into this podcast.
We'll save that for later.
That's right. We'll save that for the succubus episode. Now, while previous editions have reinforced Hill Giants as being the most brutish and primitive of the true giants, 5th edition examines more of why that is. The passage states that Hill Giants have the amazing ability to eat just about anything and not die. So they have been able to exist for eons, living in the wilds, and doing just that. Quote, eating and breeding in the hills like animals, end quote. It's like, did Mordenkainen write this?
Oh, I'm sure.
Such contempt. I love it. So as such, Hill Giants don't really have much in the way of culture outside of eating. They are all about eating, and they spend pretty much every waking moment that they have not doing something else, eating. We get some humorous depictions of Hill Giants trying to fill their cultural void by copying the societies that they live around. We get examples like accidentally toppling entire forests by trying to live in the trees like elves.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Climb a tree, smash. Oh. Attempting to enter human-sized houses and being bewildered when they topple their walls and smash in their roofs. Yeah, they're really not very good at pretending to be real boys and girls with real cultures. The passage goes on to say that Hill Giants are too stupid to employ deception and can be confused or tricked relatively easily. That being said, if one realizes it has been fooled or insulted, it will likely fly into a murderous rampage, smashing everything around it until its rage subsides, or if it finds something more interesting, like food. Just imagine like.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, it's like I'm imagining this, giant-sized temper tantrum, and it flattens an entire village. Then it's like, ooh, cow.
And save that for later.
Yeah.
Put it in my bag.
Put it in my bag that I have.
Oh man, I see that they took out the cunning aspect of Hill Giants then in 5th edition, because they're definitely. It says they're too stupid to use deception. So taking away that cunning aspect.
Yeah, which like on the one hand I was like, oh, this was fun in previous editions, but at the same time I think the designers really wanted to reserve that for all the other giants.
Yeah,
and it's like the Hill Giants, man, they're trying, but ooh.
They're just living life.
Yeah, that 5 intelligence is really not. It's not helping them.
The 5 is killing me.
I know.
It's so funny.
He's dumber. He's dumber than.
He's dumber than a goblin.
He's dumber than a goblin. He's dumber than the barbarian, right? That we talked about in your campaign. That is dumber than a goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragnetic would seem like a genius compared to.
Oh, I have to bring in Hill Giants now.
Yes. Yes, and they'll debate.
Have
philosophy.
A conversation between the two.
Yes. I don't remember who
what
I am or
food
where
you
I
like.
came from.
I like this food.
I can roast it with my breath. Wait, what?
Oh, they're kidnapping him for sure because of that.
100%. Turn him into their personal chef.
Their personal lighter.
Yeah. That's true. Now, we do get a throwback to the giant kings of 3rd edition in 5e's lore. which says that hill giants will sometimes declare themselves kings over a territory where humanoids live. They rule, quote, by tyranny and terror, shifting their decision with their mood. Still utterly dim-witted, these would-be regents sometimes forget the titles they've given themselves and will accidentally eat their own subjects.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, whoopsie. The passage states that hill giant chiefs are usually the, quote, tallest and fattest giant that can still move about, end quote.
Still move about.
Yeah. Keeping in line with 3rd edition's lore, only very rarely are there hill giants that have enough brains to climb the ranks through cleverness rather than bulk. Now, speaking of climbing the ranks, right? Concerning our friends, the hill giants, you might think that having vast larders of food and servants, giant or otherwise, to tend farms, herd livestock, and raid settlements for more things to eat would be the sign to other hill giants that they sit at the top of their level of the ordning, right? Because they're all about food. Food is love, food is life, okay?
Yeah.
And it is here, dear listener, that I must tell you that that is not the case.
Okay.
Yeah, so while these things do go along with being a hill giant chieftain or leader, hill giants vie for position through height and girth. As I said earlier, right, they believe that the tallest and the fattest among them are the most fit to lead. So in line with this, they think that being able to eat vast quantities of food will help them grow to become the biggest and therefore the leader. So when they square off, right, to basically challenge each other, instead of, a battle of strength or, a game of wits or maybe a showcasing of craft or wealth, they will challenge each other to eating contests. That can last.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Now, these eating contests can last for weeks, and a victor is decided when their opponent can no longer eat anymore, or throws up, or passes out into a food coma.
So classic hot dog eating contest rules.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes, the Forgotten Realms hot dog classic. Except the hot dogs.
We always lose to a hill giant.
Yeah, except the hot dogs are actual dogs this time.
Oh no.
And cows. Sometimes people.
Yeah. Sometimes pumpkins. They like the pumpkins.
They do. Whole barrels of pickles. Now we get a glimpse into the profoundly stupid simplicity of how hill giants approach social or societal mobility in the 2016 module Storm King's Thunder, which I have a place in my heart for this module. This is the first module that I played in as a player in 5th edition. As written, it's a bit of a mess, but it's a lot of fun. So, if you have a good DM that can kind of make it more cohesive, fantastic. Highly recommend.
Yeah, that's just kind of 5th edition in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's true. Which, Chris Perkins, Jeremy Crawford, you guys are great. You're great designers. I'm sorry that Wizards did not have the different international teams actually talk to each other before things went to publication, but that's a whole different conversation. Now, the premise for Storm King's Thunder ties in with 2 previous modules, Horde of the Dragon Queen, and then its sequel, The Rise of Tiamat. In those books, dragons and their cultists attempt to bring Tiamat, who is the evil 5-headed dragon queen, who lives in the 9 hells. They're trying to bring her to the material plane. As we've mentioned before, in case you forgot, the giants and the dragons don't really get along. So when Anam, the Allfather, who has absolutely had it with his descendants' complacency, sees this threat happening and sees them not really doing much about it, he is incensed when he learns that it was actually adventuring groups of small folk that rose up to confront and ultimately defeat this threat. Instead, you have the once mighty descendants of his children. Yeah, he's not happy about that. So in a rage, he just up and dissolves the ordning. Casual. Says, fuck it, you figure it out. So he leaves the various types of giants to reshape the hierarchy through whatever ways they choose.
That's so weird. I always wondered how he did that. Like, did they just get an innate sense that, oh, I'm no longer the best because I am the biggest? Like, I just wonder how that worked. Like, just something comes over them and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, not to spoil too much from the module, but one of the key points is that Hecaton, who is the king of the storm giants, just goes missing. So then the storm giants are kind of in disarray, and it basically just filters down through the ordning. And then, yeah, all the giants are like, oh, it's a free-for-all. Let's go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the rest of the module has chapters dedicated to various run-ins with different types of giants. In the chapter titled Den of the Hill Giants, the Lord of the Hill Giants, a huge female hill giant named Chief Guh, decides to try and elevate her status above her traditional betters by eating the most food conceivable and growing to become the biggest giant in history. Obviously her plan is a little bit flawed because there's an upper limit to how big you can grow just from eating, but doesn't matter. This is hill giant logic. Not important. Don't think.
No think, only eat.
No think, only eat, yeah. And to achieve this, she takes all of the male hill giants as her husbands and tasks them with bringing her food.
All right, get it, Guh. We love that.
Yeah, yes. Very, very much, the girl boss queen of the hill giants. So
we need a gatekeep girl boss. What was the other one?
Gaslight.
Get food.
Yes. Gatekeep girl boss. Get food. I love it. Somebody make it a sticker. So now Gus sets up shop in the hill giant fortress, and we've got heavy air quotes here, which is called Grudhog, which literally translates from the giant tongue to dam house. It is not like dam house, like dam, right? Like think,
like a water dam.
Like a water dam, yeah. It's literally a giant-sized farmhouse set atop a massive dam. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh no.
Yes, which if your players are crafty enough and either have the right equipment or strong enough party members, they can actually destabilize the dam and cause the whole thing to flood and collapse in on itself. So.
The Flood Part 3, right, Andy?
That's right. Release the Great Flood Player Edition. Yes. The bad hombres know what that's about.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, shouts out. Now, speaking of Chief Guh, I especially love her character artwork because she is so morbidly obese that she actually can no longer walk and has to be wheeled around in a gigantic wooden cart by her husbands.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I also like her design because she just has a hat. So her hat is literally a water well, like those stone wells you see in fairy tale movies.
Yeah.
It's just on top of her head as a hat. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, ye old well just as her hat. She has it's like a nose piercing, but it's just a sword. I love how she has an earring.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she has an earring that's a shield, and the dismembered gauntlet of whoever it belonged to is still clutched onto it.
No.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
I did not see that.
Yeah, it's great. The Giant Lord artwork just in general is fantastic.
Yeah.
For as much criticism as can be, I think, appropriate levied against the continuity of a lot of the 5th edition modules, the artwork is fantastic. So,
yes.
if there was a great edition to start playing in for the artwork, we lucked out with 5e, is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving on, still in 5th edition, Hill Giants appear next in Volo's Guide to Monsters, which gives us more information about giant culture and history generally. A standout being that a red dragon named Garrix, who is jealous of the wealth and power that the giants had, this is back during the Kingdom of Astoria, was actually the one that led his followers to start the opening battles of the Great War that raged between dragons and giant kind. So, some of the lore heads in 5th edition were like, you know what, this was just left a little bit too up in the air. It was the dragon's fault. Which, I mean, fair. That makes sense.
Fair.
Yeah. Especially those red dragons. Not a very nice bunch. Now, the opening lines for the Hill Giants lore passage I found to be quite humorous, which states, quote, "Hill Giants live to eat. Anyone who understands this one fact about them knows everything there is to know," end quote. Thank you, Volo.
That's too funny. I love Volo.
He's great.
He's great.
I really wish that Wizards would do something where they hire Volo's voice actor from Baldur's Gate 3 to just read all of the Volo lines from Volo's Guide, from the modules where he shows up, because, I mean, absolutely.
He just did an excellent
Yeah.
job. Like, I loved him, especially when he was in the Goblin camp, like trying to sing a song.
Dragsland! Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah,
I like to think he was channeling his inner Matt Berry for that performance, but you know.
yeah.
Yes, if the two meet, you guys have to take videos of it and show us because we're nerds and we love you guys. Now, unfortunately, from there on, hill giants don't get much outside of the descriptions of how utterly disgusting their lairs are, because, you know, there's bits of half-eaten food, there's blood everywhere because they do a lot of butchering right there where they live. Yeah, bones. And this attracts scavenger creatures like otyugs, carrion crawlers, oozes, and ropers. And then the passage elaborates a little bit more on their love of food and eating. They are said to primarily amuse themselves through inane pastimes that involve eating. One of their favorites, only eating. One of their favorites being a game called Stuff, where giants see how many small creatures, typically halflings, gnomes, or goblins, they can fit into their mouths without swallowing.
Oh no!
Horrible.
Oh no! Those poor creatures.
Yeah.
It's almost like their version of Chubby Bunny.
Yeah.
Where you like shove in all the peeps in your mouth and try to talk.
Yeah. Halfling comes flying out.
Stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God. Fantastic. Now, Volo's Guide does introduce a unique hill giant subtype called the Mouth of Grolontor, which is essentially what happens on the rare occasion when a hill giant actually does eat something that makes it sick. If it is ill to the point that it can't keep any food down for an extended period of time and doesn't get better, the tribe freaks out, right? Because they're like, this hill giant can't eat. What is wrong? The gods must hate him. So the tribe responds by keeping the poor bastard away from the rest of them, either chained to a post or confined to a huge cage. And now,
solution.
Yeah, well, intelligence of 5, Jade. We're asking a lot here.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Now, a priest of Grolontor or the tribe's chieftain will then visit the ill giant.
Oh, pun intended.
And will attempt to read portents in the giant's bile. Just searching the pools of vomit for omens. Now, if the hill giant recovers, it can rejoin society. If not, its extended hunger essentially drives the hill giant mad. From there on, the individual ceases to be a named member of the tribe and is now labeled a Mouth of Grolontor, which is used simultaneously as a holy symbol representing, quote, Grolontor's eternal aching hunger, and also as a weapon of war to be set upon a tribe's enemies. Yes, in its fevered state of starved madness, it moves faster than its more corpulent hill giant kin, and is immune to the frightened condition, as well as the confusion spell and other similar magics. It's like, I'm already crazy. You're going to make me more crazy? I don't think so.
That's so scary.
Yeah. Oh, it's
crazy?
terrifying.
I was crazy once.
They put me in a cage. I didn't get better. It has a fist attack, which does as much damage as a typical hill giant's great club. Terrifying. As well,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. As well as a bite attack, which does 3d6 plus 5 piercing damage and allows the Mouth of Grolontor to regain hit points equal to the amount of damage that it deals. Now, what really makes this guy interesting is its Mouth of Madness trait, which forces it to make a d10 roll to determine what it will do during its turn, okay? Before it can do anything, it has to make this roll. It will always move towards another creature or object that it would perceive as food. And then, depending on what you roll, we have 4 different options, okay? So, on a roll of 1 to 3, the giant makes 3 attacks with its fists against 1 random target within its reach.
Oh, no.
Yeah, if no other creatures are within its reach, the giant flies into a rage and gains advantage on all attack rolls until the end of its next turn. Oh, boy. On a roll of 4 to 5, the giant makes 1 attack with its fist against every creature within its reach.
Every creature?
Every creature, that's right. And remember, it has a 10-foot reach, so, you know. Also, if no other creatures are within its reach, the giant makes 1 fist attack against itself.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
punches itself in the face. Okay, on a roll of 6 to 7, the giant makes one attack with its bite against one random target within its reach. If no other creatures are within its reach, its eyes glaze over and it becomes stunned until the start of its next turn.
Okay.
No
Okay.
eat, I said now.
He doesn't bite his own arm.
No. Just drools. And then on a roll of 8 to 10, the giant makes 3 attacks against one random target within its reach. 1 attack with its bite and 2 with its fists, right? This is the most normal of the attack patterns. If no other creatures are within its reach, the giant flies into a rage and gains advantage on all attack rolls until the end of its turn. So,
Okay.
while the mechanics for this thing are random, whatever it rolls, it's a problem for either its enemies or itself or both.
Yeah, 3 attacks in a row. That's just insane.
Well, keep in mind, every time it makes a bite attack, it's regaining the amount of damage
That's
that it
right.
deals, right? Because it's taking chomps out of things. So yeah, it's a really cool monster. More terrifying than it looks, especially because it clocks in at a CR6. It's real nasty beastie for a CR6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So enjoy. DMs.
Save that for later.
Yeah. Put that in my pocket. Now, once let loose, it will attack and slaughter any living thing it comes across, devouring anything and everything it can get its hands on. The rest of the hill giant tribe gives it a wide berth, allowing it to eat its fill until it passes out and can be safely recaptured again.
Okay.
Gotta love the weaponized food coma. Now, there's another 5e supplement where hill giants appear, which is Bigby Presents The Glory of Giants, which I have to say is an incredible supplement. It has great artwork.
It's like the modern giant craft for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, as we were reading through it, I saw direct parallels to Giant Craft. I'm like, this is basically a love letter to second edition's lore dump on giants. And then, of course, it adds a lot of stuff, too. But yeah, it has great artwork, lots of new giant enemy types, character subclasses, and background options, and an extremely in-depth look into giant history and society. We could probably do a whole episode on this supplement alone. Maybe we will subscribe to the Patreon because that would be paywalled. Shameless plug. Now, that being said, it doesn't really spend much time on hill giants beyond new and interesting ways to use them in adventures. Lots of random encounter tables, story hooks, that kind of stuff. But that's pretty much it. We do get another Giant's Bag table, which is now customized for possible contents of the bags of each type of giant, which is very cool. So my personal favorite from the Hill Giant table are, quote, a small picture book for learning common.
Aw.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's really cute. And then also a beehive with live bees. It's like, why is that in your bag? Why'd you put that in there?
I love that 5e just occasionally makes hill giants kind of cute. And I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. And I will say in this supplement, especially, it definitely brings another side of giants, even the really evil ones. And it's like, no, these are living, breathing creatures. Like, yes, they might be horrible, but they're not like mindless killing machines. They're mindful killing machines. And yeah, a lot of the hill giant encounters that they put in are just like, they're just cute. Like there's one where the hill giant is like singing, but it's singing so loudly that it's like shaking the walls of the nearby settlement. And they're like, guys, you gotta do something about this.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's super cute.
I love that.
Super cute. Now, like I said, where this supplement really shines as far as hill giants are concerned are the introduction of a couple types of hill giant offshoots and then subtypes. So starting off with that, we get a return of the Avalancher from 4th edition. Ooh. It's back. As before, they still use elemental magic to make rock slides and then sling big rocks at their foes. One thing I did like in the description of it is that they specifically wear around their waist belts that have rocks hanging off of them in chains. One, as a way to kind of like be closer to, the elements that they're using the magic of. And also, too, because they've learned over time that smaller assailants will try to like run between their legs to flank them. So as they're moving, the rocks just like kind of knock around and occasionally just brain, a would-be attacker in the face.
Oh my gosh. That's actually so smart.
Yeah, super smart. Well, remember the Avalanchers, they have an intelligence of 10. So,
Oh yeah.
mhm,
Okay.
not dumb big guys. Um, Now, we also get the Barrowgast, which is essentially a hill giant that was so unbelievably hungry when it died that it got infused with energy from the negative plane of existence and then came back as a zombie so it could keep eating.
Mm,
But
okay.
yeah, casual. But this time, instead of eating physical food, it craves life energy. The Barrowgas can use a attack called Life Drain, which does 1d8 plus 5 necrotic damage and can lower the hit point maximum of a creature equal to the damage it does if that creature fails a DC 16 Constitution saving throw, right?
Eee.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
The damage isn't crazy, but like enough of those, is going to drop a player. Which, importantly, a creature that dies from this attack immediately rises as a zombie.
See, there you go, wizards. If you can do this with the Barrowgast, where one, you can lower the constitution of a creature, and two, bring the creature back as a zombie immediately. You can do that with the yellow musk creeper.
Yes.
Okay? I none of this like 24 hours later they become a zombie bullshit. Stupid.
Yeah, it's my zombie, and I want it now.
Yeah.
Next up, we have something called the Maw of Yeenagoo, which is an especially cruel hill giant that consumed some type of artifact that infused it with power from the Beast of Butchery himself, which transforms its face into a gaping fanged maw.
Oh, it's really scary.
Oh, it's really scary. Yeah, we get some truly Eldritch Horror-inspired artwork of this guy, especially because its main attack is raking its open mouth across the ground like a high-speed demonic bulldozer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then it has like acid spit that like helps, dissolve things. It's got teeth everywhere that it can shoot at its foes. Yeah, this thing is horrifying. Then we also have the Mud Hulk, which seems to be a callback to the elemental nature of giants in 4th edition. Basically, these used to be hill giants who lived too long in isolation without food and started eating mud. Casual, as you do. Now, for these guys specifically, their elemental earth ancestry kicked in, and then they just became mud. Big, sentient mud.
I love that all the offshoots of hill giants is like has to deal with eating and food. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this one ate too much and this one ate too little. Now they're crazy.
Yeah, now they're crazy. This one, mud. Don't do it. Don't eat mud.
Don't eat mud.
Problem
Nope.
solved. And then finally, this one's a little bit different. We have something called the Scion of Grolontor. So Scions are basically the grandchildren of Anam the Allfather, who have infused themselves into the elements around them, right? The Scions have direct lineage. I mean, all the giants technically have direct lineage, but these ones were like specific children of the children of Anam. It's very cool. So now the Scion of Grolontor is a 60-foot tall, gargantuan titan who slumbers in a massive container called a cradle. Each of the different types of scions has a cradle that it slumbers in. And this specific one is often mistaken for a hill. Because, hill giants. Makes sense. Yeah, I know. We're being real.
On the nose.
Yeah, very on the nose. The cradle itself is actually also a sentient gargantuan elemental with the sole purpose of protecting its charge inside until it dies. It will use devastating attacks like rolling hills, where it will throw a 30-foot long and 30-foot tall wall of dirt at a creature that does 9d12 bludgeoning damage.
90. Just the DM like rolling all those dice. It's like, you attack the hill? Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Are you sure?
Yeah, we're level 20. How bad could it be?
Oh man.
Ooh.
It was scary. Yeah, reading that stat block, I'm like, wait, the hill is also sentient?
Yes.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Well, and then the crazy part is, right? If you manage to defeat one of these cradles, then your reward is the awakening of the Scion, right? You don't win. You go into phase 2 of the battle, which is somehow worse than, fighting a hill that's alive. And let me remind you, dear players, this is the bottom of the ordning. Just keep that in mind next time you want to go fucking with nature. You could awake something horrible. Now, the scion will slumber for centuries. Civilizations will unwittingly build communities and even cities atop of and surrounding a scion and its cradle. This is mainly because of the scions constantly exuding power. So the example that the book gives is that the earth around the cradle is especially fertile and the weather is always fair. So, very attractive to start living there. The scion, of course, also gives a boost to hill giants living around it. So any hill giants in the vicinity are going to get a +7 to attack and damage rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while the surrounding hill giants may be an issue, it's probably best to just let sleeping scions lie. Just deal with the hill giants. Don't go attack the sentient hill that has a weird part of it that looks a little bit like a face. Don't think about it. Don't read into it. Hire Elminster.
Moral of the story, don't hit hills.
Don't hit hills.
That's all you need to know.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
All right, guys. Finally, we are all the way back to the present with the 2025 Monster Manual.
We're back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
And once again, after finally getting our hands on this book, we are already regretting it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the hill giants are no longer together with the other giants under that, umbrella category of giants. Now they're their own monster. So go looking, under hill. And this may be because the book designated pages 354 to 362 to giant animals. So just like giant goat, giant ape, giant spider, all of those. Rather than doing what all the other books have done and just put the animals in their own section, their own index at the end of the monster manual. It's super odd, especially with a supplement this large. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to have a whole what was it? Almost 10 pages of giant animals. Like what? Huh?
Yeah. Well, especially, I mean, we've gotten used to the previous formula, right? It's like, okay, here's all the stuff, and the animals are at the end, and the giant ones are back there too. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, you put the goat and you put the giant goat together at the end of the module. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it.
Yeah. So, whatever. Anyway, secondly. While we at least get more than 3 sentences for the hill giant's description, the description itself sounds completely odd.
Ugh.
Like it sounds more like a description for centaurs rather than hill giants, especially the hill giants we know and love. In the section, hill giants are described as, quote, living among hidden valleys, pristine waterfalls, and game-filled slopes, hill giants usually find their needs met by nature's bounty, end quote.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I read that sentence and I'm like, hill giants? Like, I was expecting to do some kind of turn where it's like, oh, all these, pristine waterfalls, and here's the hill giants, like, in their mess. You know what I mean?
They're guzzling it all. They're drinking all the waterfall, and it's a problem. Yeah, we now have, very well established lore, very well fleshed out lore, where they're basically a scourge upon, wherever they end up settling.
Yeah.
No,
it gets worse, Andy. So, whatever it gets worse. Whatever the hill giants don't get from nature's bounty, they craft themselves, like clothes, tools, weapons, or they trade it with travelers. And it's, sure, it says it's like crudely crafted, but it's still like they're crafting all of these things. And they're supposed to be dumb.
Yeah, they're supposed to be so dumb and like incompetent other than eating.
Yeah, and that sentence, again, literally you could lift it and put it in centaurs and it would make much more sense.
Yeah, I hate that.
It also says, quote, disaster, invasion, or want, end quote, might drive hill giants from their home, which forced the hill giants to steal and or take revenge on smaller races living in the areas they were displaced to. Again, centaurs.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's not a hill giant. And that's not to say that hill giants don't live in nature. But I feel like the section is just giving too much generosity to creatures who are supposed to be both brutish and cunning.
And historically evil, right? Like, I
Yes.
understand having nuance. We talked a bit about how in 5th edition, there are times where, like, the hill giants are kind of cute, right? But it's like,
Mhm.
it's because of their simplicity and their dim-wittedness that it's cute, right? They end up doing a thing that's endearing. They are still not nice. They will eat you, right?
Yes.
And I'm all for, like I said, I'm all for having nuance. We'll talk more about this in our orcs episode, but like kind of some of the rework of orcs is like, okay, well, we're incorporating the fact that they were historically like good orcs in the lore, and there's historically evil orcs in the lore, right? And we're reconciling that. I love that. But like, the hill giants have always been evil, and that's
I mean,
okay.
we've said before, like we like the consistency with them always being chaotic evil.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
they're doing bad stuff, but they do it randomly. They don't know what they're doing. And it works. Yeah, it's just there's some places where nuance it's not necessary.
Yeah, a hill giant should be a force of nature, not one with nature.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Write that down. Write that down.
Oh, speaking of force of nature, again, oh my god, I'm so angry with this section. So, now, instead of throwing rocks as they have done for almost 50 years, hill giants now throw trees.
I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
It's just so dumb.
It's terrible.
So they have a common attack, tree club and tree lob.
Okay.
Tree club is kind of interesting because not only does it do 3d8 plus 5 bludgeoning damage, but it also knocks the target prone if they are large or smaller. No save allowed.
I
so
do like that.
Yeah, kind of going back to 4th edition mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And then tree lob also gives the target a strange condition in that on a hit, the tree lob attack, which has a range of 60 to 240 feet, does 2d10 plus 5 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And the target has, wait for it, the poisoned condition until the end of its next turn.
I'm sorry, but how many poisonous trees are they realistically like finding to throw at people? And this is something as I go through more of the 5.5 monster manual, I'm seeing more and more of like they just wanted to throw the poison condition in there more. And I don't know why. Because it's very niche, right? It's very it's been very well established. Like, just like we think like in video games, like, oh, purple means poison. Oh, green, be careful. You know what I mean? That's acid.
Yeah.
Here they're just like, and you get some poison, and you get some poison. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know. It's just like, oh, maybe the tree exactly hit their stomach and now they have a stomach ache. Like that's the only reason you
Yeah, like I can't see a reason for this other than they're like, hey, clerics, you haven't cast lesser restoration in a while. You want to do that, right? You want to burn a spell slot on that, right? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Or maybe someone's allergic to the tree. I don't know. But it's dumb.
Like if somebody hit me in the face with a dogwood tree. I just start sneezing uncontrollably. My eyes are watering. I'm poisoned.
Actually, that would be kind of funny. I would probably do that as like flavor in 5th edition. But like to have a whole ass poison condition, it doesn't make sense.
It's weird.
Why are they throwing trees? It makes me angry.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah. I guess one upside, I suppose, is the artwork for the giants is pretty neat. There's a humorous scene of a male and female hill giant stomping through a village. And the male is just casually holding 2 cows in its hand.
Yeah, he's just got 2 cows. But it's like, once again, though, like I look at that artwork. It's great artwork. It looks fantastic. And like I'm thinking of like 5th edition hill giants, right? Like I'm smashing through, I'm getting my food. Doesn't matter, there are people living here. I'm doing my thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, what is with the hippy dippy nonsense? Like, that's once again centaurs. That's centaurs. That's what they're for, right? Dryads, druids, blah, 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 blah. The Emerald Enclave. Yeah, I don't know. I almost feel like it's like, once again, like the issue that we were talking about very briefly with like the 5th edition modules where like the design teams don't talk to each other. And then you have an editor who's like, oh, I have to make all this work cohesively.
Yes, yeah. It feels like what was supposed to be in the Centaur section, they copied and pasted to the wrong section.
Yeah.
Just put it with the Hill Giants.
Yes. If there are any 5.5 designers out there who'd like to give us some clarification, please do, because I'm stumped.
Yeah. I don't get it. All right. So that is Hill Giants, folks. We made it.
We made it.
So since the start of D&D, Hill Giants have been big, dumb guys who do a lot of damage. However, even on the lowest rung of the ordning, the Hill Giants still have a lot going for them. We see throughout the Hill Giants evolution, especially in 5th edition, that Hill Giants get a lot of unique characteristics, which expanded on their need to imitate civilized society. It went into the contents on how their not so mysterious giant bag had, and how they measure their own form of quote unquote greatness.
Greatness.
Greatness. And we even got some one of a kind subtypes that would be truly terrifying to throw at an unsuspecting party.
Truly.
So that's it. And we hope that this episode keeps you hungry for more content on giants in the future.
But not too hungry.
That's true. We wouldn't want any of our listeners turning into a mouth of Roland tour. This is your reminder to eat if you haven't done so yet today, and drink your water, but don't eat too much.
Yeah. Don't eat mud. Don't eat mud.
Don't eat mud. No.
The sun had just begun peeking its way over the horizon. Tendrils of light crept along the hillside, their warmth slowly staving off the twilight chill. Brunwyn yawned as she poured freshly brewed tea out for her companions. So what's the plan? Are we supposed to be meeting someone about the job? Rashada nodded as she swallowed a bite of grilled jerky. Apparently a representative of the Lord's Alliance should arrive shortly after sunup, she said. Oh, we'll know when they get here, Grognak said, with a snort. Those self-important peacocks never fail to make a spectacle. They had made their way to this sleepy little hamlet to respond to a notice they had seen on a message board in Daggerford. Adventurers wanted! Flame Rule Farms meet imperiled by pests of giant proportions. All interested parties report to Gillian's Hill. Pay will be handsome for a job well done. In the name of the Lord's Alliance. Brunwyn and her companions had not been the only ones drawn here by the prospect of good coin. Sharing the warmth of their fire was a tanned human woman wearing a rust-flecked breastplate, a halfling in a cloak that was obviously too long for him, a half-elf wearing a pair of half-moon spectacles, and a kobold clad in leathers. They had arrived at the settlement shortly after the previous sundown and had asked the dwarf and her friends if they could join their camp for the night. We, didn't realize this place doesn't have an inn, the human woman had said sheepishly. So, Holly, the night under the stars treats you okay? Brunwyn asked, passing the human a steaming tin cup. Makes sleeping in the family stable's hayloft feel like luxury, but it was uneventful enough, she replied. Rathked won't stop complaining about his aching back, though. The half-elf shot her a look from over his spectacles. Well, I don't blame him. Even on a bedroll in a canvas tent, the cold ground is a cruel mistress to spend one's night with, Cantheo quipped, sipping his tea. Softy, Grognak grunted, running a whetstone along the blade of one of his axes. As the sun made its way higher into the sky, farmers rolled their way here and there into the settlement with carts and wagons loaded with produce. The center of Gillian's Hill had started to resemble a small market. Brunwyn yawned again, stretching her arms above her head. Still no sign of our contact yet? Not yet, a voice called out. Dak, the halfling, had climbed a nearby tree so that he could keep a lookout. Well, I suppose there's no rush. Maybe we can get fresh ingredients for a proper meal, the dwarf said, looking longingly towards the agricultural assortment behind them. All seemed peaceful. That is, until a low, short rumbling pealed out through the hills.
Huh! I didn't think it was supposed to rain today,
Scrat squeaked. The kobold put a finger in his mouth, then raised it to the wind. Barely a moment had passed when a second rumble filled the air. Then another. And another. The ground began to shake, slightly at first, gradually vibrating more with each additional sound. Kenthiel began to trace signs around himself with a piece of cured leather. The air shimmered ever so slightly as he traced, as if he were painting using colors Brunwyn's eyes couldn't detect. Can never be too careful, he mused. The farm's meat filled with worried murmuring. Some farmers began hesitantly wheeling away their carts. I have a feeling we're about to see just what those pests of giant proportions are, Brunwyn said. Shed, can you get up that fire tower and keep us covered? If anything goes bad, I'll help guide your first shot and keep the rest of you lot patched up. Rasheda nodded and took off behind them. The thundering was getting louder, and the ground was starting to feel unsteady under the adventurers' feet. Brunwyn closed her eyes and stilled herself, her hand clasped firmly around her holy symbol. Maraud and protect us. Guide our hands and make them tools in your grand design, Brunwyn prayed. The dwarf smiled as she and her companions began to glow with a faint, warm light, like flickering flames illuminating a forge. Brunwyn's eyes flew open as she felt something tugging her attention forwards. Watch out! She cried, as she dropped to the ground. A large cauldron sailed over her towards Kenthiel. The elf frowned as he uttered an arcane phrase, surrounding himself in a bubble of purple energy. The cauldron stopped mid-flight, then fell to the ground with a loud clang. Nothing can ever be easy, can it? He scoffed.
Wow! That was close! Good thing it didn't hit us,
Scrat remarked. Just as the words had left his scaly lips, a huge boulder flew through the air and landed squarely on top of his half-elf companion with a loud crash. Brunwyn winced. Oof! Bad luck. Halle and Scrat stood stunned, their jaws agape. Dak let out a terrified whimper from up in the tree. Don't worry, I'm, sure he'll be okay, the dwarf said. Another boulder slammed into the ground, directly next to the first one. The kobold let out a terrified shriek, threw his arms over his head, and ran off wailing. Well, I suppose good help is hard to find these days, Kenthiel sighed, shaking his head. Two towering figures emerged from the surrounding hills, running towards Gillian's Hill with heavy, lumbering steps. They shouted back and forth to each other as they crashed towards the settlement. Brunwyn could feel her bones vibrate with each thundering syllable. The dwarf could now clearly tell that they were about to be assailed by a pair of giants, one male and one female. Try as she might to keep herself calm, her breaths quickened as she beheld these behemoth foes. Heavy animal hides stitched haphazardly together formed a pair of titanic trousers that covered the lower half of the giantess. Her shins had large pieces of tree bark secured around them, held in place with filthy and frayed lengths of rope. She pointed a colossal wooden club towards the wagons and carts of farm goods in the center of the settlement.
Food!
She bellowed.
Get!
The giantess slapped the male giant in the back of his head. He responded with a pained groan as he nodded and lumbered forward. Upon seeing the enormous tan-skinned brute plodding directly towards them, the remaining farmers panicked. Grabbing whatever they could carry, they ran scrambling and shouting towards the back of the settlement and the woods beyond. The strident high notes of a bugle rang out through the chaos. Brunwyn turned and saw a knight in gleaming plate armor spurring his horse forward, a crimson plume fluttering atop his frogmouth helm like an angry flame. In his left hand, he carried a standard emblazoned with a white crown against a red and gold background, the symbol of the Lord's Alliance.
Say what I mean!
Grognak yelled, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smirk. Behind the knight rode a smaller figure atop a pony. Clad in a crimson brigandine and sporting a jaunty red and gold Tudor cap, the figure lowered a polished brass bugle from its lips. As the pair rode nearer, Brunwyn could see that the smaller rider had dark red skin. Large, pointed ears poked out from under its hat.
Is that a goblin?
The dwarf said, in disbelief.
A goblin in the employ of the Lord's Alliance? Well, now, I've seen everything,
Kenthiel remarked.
Forgive me for the delay! I am Sir Obethius Fontavian Clung, Knight of the Lord's Alliance, Champion of Neverwinter, and Preservator of the prosperity of the realms!
The knight triumphantly called out.
And this,
he said, gesturing with the butt of a javelin to the goblin behind him,
is my squire, Gurgles. We'll draw off the female. You handle the male.
As he rode past the giantess, he hurled his javelin straight into her forearm. Her angry howl shook the stones of the low wall next to where Brunwyn stood. With two massive fingers, the giantess plucked out the javelin and snapped it like a twig. She turned her attention towards Sir Clung.
Bad human,
she roared.
Get you!
All right, Can, that got our attention, Brunwyn called. If you and Grognak have a plan, get it going.
I'm ready for you, you overgrown sausage,
Grognak growled.
Let's give him the big boy special.
He took a step forward, slamming his fist into the rune etched into the center of his cuirass. Brunwyn watched as the half-orc's eyes started to glow white. Light began pulsing through his veins. Grognak let out a short grunt. Then he began to grow, increasing to the size of an ogre in a matter of moments.
I didn't know you could do that,
the dwarf called out excitedly.
I've got your flank, big guy,
Hallie shouted as she ran past Brunwyn.
Hey, you let go of that.
The giant had grabbed a cart piled high with watermelons. Hallie gripped the cart's handle with both hands and tried to yank it backwards. With as much effort as a child lifting a book off a table, the enormous brute hoisted the cart into the air and brought it up to his face, inspecting its contents.
Put me down! Put me down!
The woman said, slamming her boot into the giant's enormous, bulbous nose. The immense intruder squinted for a moment, then drew in a breath.
Achoo!
The sneeze hit the human like a furious gale, sending her flying off the cart, through the air, and into the orchard on the outskirts of the hamlet. Brunwyn winced as she heard Hallie crashing her way down through the trees.
Doc!
The dwarf shouted to the nearby tree.
Stay put! Can, do your thing!
The elf chanted as he drew a pinch of powdered iron from his side pouch. He sprinkled it in front of him in a half circle, then pointed at Grognak.
Just a warning, this might sting a bit.
The half-orc's already large form grew in size until he stood almost eye to eye with the giant, who looked utterly shocked that another huge creature had seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Grognak began yelling at the giant in the same guttural language it had been speaking before. Brunwyn couldn't understand him, but she could make out words like Krigga and Farask. The giant's puzzled expression softened as it let out a booming laugh. Brunwyn had to steady herself as its voice rocked the hill. The giant pointed and began shouting at Grognak.
Nay, Orton! Nay, Orton! Gefa! Gefa!
In response, Grognak slammed an axe into the giant's chest, catching it off guard and causing it to stagger backwards.
Something tells me that negotiations are breaking down,
Kenthiel shouted. The giant took a step forward, steadying itself. In one motion, it grabbed the tree Dak had climbed, ripped it out by the roots, and swung it in a wide arc, catching Grognak squarely in the jaw.
Hope you're ready with that bullshed,
Brunwyn called out, as she flung a bolt of light at the belligerent brute. It grunted as the attack hit its mark, causing the giant to glow red with spectral flames. The dwarf watched a bolt of lavender light streak across her field of view, then slam itself into the side of the giant's shoulder. It seemed unbothered, keeping its focus centered on the huge half-orc in front of it.
Try hitting it with something a little harder,
Kenthiel yelled, as he shot a small jet of flame from his fingertip. Brunwyn watched as Grognak maneuvered his way around the giant, bashing it again with an axe blow.
Fire!
He bellowed. Another arrow sailed forward. When this one found its target, it exploded into a shower of hundreds of thorns that plunged themselves into the giant's back. Small dribbles of blood trickled down its tanned skin. The giant growled in frustration. It grabbed Grognak's wrist as the half-orc attempted to land another blow. With its free hand, the giant quickly scooped up a large rock from the ground and sent it sailing towards the fire tower. The missile slammed into the aged structure, punching a hole into its front in a spray of wood and stone.
No shed!
Brunwyn yelled. As Kenthiel turned to see what had happened, a piece of debris flew straight into the center of his forehead. He yowled in pain, dropping to a knee. Bits of static flickered around Grognak's body. The half-orc shrank back down to the size of an ogre, still large, but now much smaller than the giant. Brunwyn gasped as she watched the fire tower topple backwards. Suddenly, a puff of mist appeared next to her, out of which rolled Rasheda.
You're a right crafty one,
The dwarf laughed, placing a hand on her companion. A long gash across Rasheda's cheek glowed red as it seared shut. She nodded her thanks as she quickly sent 2 more arrows sailing towards the giant's back.
Elf!
Grognak roared.
I'm gonna carve this arsehole's guts open. You blast him in the back.
The half-orc unleashed a flurry of frenzied slashes with his axes, sending sprays of crimson from the giant's torso with each hit. The giant bellowed, responding by slamming its tree club onto the top of Grognak's head, sending him reeling back.
The extra space is much appreciated,
Kenthiel called, as he raised a small ball of white and yellow material between his thumb and forefinger. A huge ball of flame erupted around the giant, engulfing its head and torso.
Taste my lance!
Sir Klung's voice boomed. Brunwyn turned to see the knight ride full speed towards the giantess, slamming his lance into her now exposed leg. The weapon, which looked to be carved out of some type of large bone, seemed to hum and vibrate for a moment as its tip found its target. A loud crack pierced the air as the giantess was sent sprawling backwards, blood pouring from her fresh leg wound. Her back hit the ground, which shook from the force of the impact. Sir Klung let loose a battle cry as he leapt from his horse, lance in both hands, driving its point into the exposed throat of the giantess. A loud, hideous gurgle escaped her lips. Then her limbs fell limply to the ground. Brunwyn was impressed, but could only marvel at the sight for a moment before another loud sound grabbed her attention. As she wheeled around, she was utterly confused by what she saw. The male giant, who only a few moments before was ferociously fighting her companions, was now flat on his behind, large tears pouring down his soot-blackened cheeks.
Hold on. I don't... That's... What?
The giant began blubbering in the same guttural language Brunwyn had heard it speak before.
Bastard says he's sorry. He just wanted some food,
Grognak translated, putting a large hand to the bruise forming on his head.
Now that his mate's dead, he says he promises to leave and never come back.
The dwarf let out a ragged, relieved sigh.
The master of the forge demands we temper our courage with mercy. Give him an earful and send him on his way.
Grognak barked a response back in giant, pointing towards the hills in the distance. The giant nodded, rose to his feet, then began lumbering away, his tears making loud splashes on the ground as he went. After a few moments, Dak fell the few remaining feet from the uprooted tree to the ground, visibly unconscious. Brunwyn shook her head as she made her way over to attend to him.
Beautifully done, fellows,
Sir Klung beamed. Many thanks, Kenthiel replied, with a slight bow. I must say, you were quite impressive yourself, taking down that giantess single-handed.
Oh, I barely did a thing,
the knight said, waving his gauntleted hand.
Gurgles was the one that took care of her leg protection. Without him, I never would have been able to strike the final blow. Grazie, amico. Non è stato niente,
the goblin said, with a slightly embarrassed shrug.
He doesn't speak a lick of the common tongue, but he's a good lad, that Gurgles. Now, we must discuss the matter of payment. Oi!
A voice called out, interrupting the knight.
We got your man! Throw them weapons down nice and slow like, or his throat gets slashed.
A muscled man clad in black studded leather emerged from the tree line. He had Scret lifted with one hand. The other held a curved blade to the kobold's throat.
Perhaps I should mention that the Lord's Alliance will compensate for the dispersal of brigands,
Sir Clung said quietly. Brunwyn quickly said a prayer to Muradin as she pointed a hand towards the intruder. His blade began glowing white-hot. He shrieked, dropping his sword and his hostage.
You were right, Can,
Brunwyn remarked.
It never can be easy.
Thanks for joining us on Browsing the Bestiary. Be sure to subscribe for more episodes and check out our Patreon at Browsing the Bestiary, all one word. We've also added a link tree to our Patreon, so now you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
On Patreon, you can keep up to date on any new pod-related announcements, access reference pages for each episode, and download character sheets for characters featured in our story times. You can also comment on what you think the next monster will be, and if you get it right, you'll get inspiration.
And if you're something of a lore master yourself, you can offer us corrections for any facts we got wrong. If you catch something we missed, you may get a shout out in a future episode.
Remember to cite your sources.
And before we go, we'd like to shout out our patrons. Thank you to Carl, Holly, Megan, and Kethri for becoming members. I'm Dungeon Mistress Jade.
And I'm Lore Master Andy.
May your dice rolls be high.
And your adventurers ever prepared.
Ooh, it's the end of the episode. I don't know what to do. I'm just a little guy. A little baby guy.